One of my favorite things in the world to do is to tell people reasons they should get into cybersecurity, how there are a lot of jobs in cybersecurity, how it's an awesome profession, how you can find a lot of different jobs in cybersecurity. However, let's do something quite opposite today. If you are this kind of person, which I'm going to talk about, you should probably avoid it. This is to save you days, months, or years, obviously, of learning cybersecurity and then realizing it's not for you. Let's get started immediately by looking. So first, obviously, if you're looking for like a cozy, like a predictable career with minimal effort and maximum cash, obviously cybersecurity is not that. Now, to be fair, not many professions are for that. There aren't a lot of jobs where you can be cozy, you have predictable career with minimal effort and get a lot of money. Obviously they exist, but just starting from cybersecurity to getting into cybersecurity from zero is quite difficult that way. It's there is a lot of grinding and there are a lot of cool things that you should know about. So let's start. First, you hate learning new things. Now, before you start bashing me, obviously in the comments, let me explain this. Obviously, to get into a new career, you gotta learn something, right? If you want to become a lawyer, you go to university, you get your degree, like you study to be a lawyer, right? You're learning. But eventually, I give an example for lawyer, and I'm not saying being lawyer is incredibly difficult. That's not my point. But very often, you just know the laws, you know how to work with papers, and you don't have to learn new things constantly. This is about learning new things. I can tell from experience for about, I don't know, over 8 years at this point that I've been in IT, cybersecurity, pen testing, done some DevOps, etc. Pretty much every day at the job, I'm learning something new. I'm looking up information constantly. I'm always trying to look up something for search engine. I'm using possibly AI to maybe help me understand some more stuff, right? I'm always learning something. That's the thing. In IT, there are a lot of things that are happening every day, a lot of new inventions, a lot of new technologies, exploit mechanics, everything that you physically cannot know all of it. So the biggest skill you can have in cybersecurity is to be able to learn, to be able to adapt, constantly change. If you want something stable that you know, you learn once for 4 years and you're good to go, no, this is not it. You could learn for a month and then get a job, and then every day you still have to learn, and that's gonna go on until your career is over, basically. So if you are not into that, or you think you might not like it, I would advise you to avoid it, right? So just don't think of it like that. You need to be constantly learning. You need to have the ability to always find information, find the correct things. This is very, very important. And obviously certifications as well. If you are a type of person who likes getting certifications, learning new things will help you as well. Now, you want a stress-free job. Now, this is something, obviously, a lot of jobs can be stressful, but I mean, as an example, from my real life, I can tell, because I was working remote and I was working for a different country in different time zone, very often at 3 a.m., I would just get calls with panic from higher-ups saying everything's broken, it's all ruined, you need to come online right now, we need to fix this. And it's a lot of stress. Now, I like that. I don't know, maybe it's my ADHD brain, but I really function well under stress. Like when everything is just ruined, it's all a mess, it's all burning fire, I'm more comfortable. All I have is my coffee. I'm just chilling, listening to music, and I work much better under those conditions. Unlike, for example, when I have one small problem, that could cause me a panic. So I'm quite opposite in that way. So if you can relate to this thing, then it's for you. But if you want something completely stress-free, you want to have, perfect like balance, then maybe it's not for you. Because in cybersecurity, whatever it is, you have to remember you are going to be dealing most likely with a lot of user information. Some people deal with financial data, servers. People rely on you to keep the servers up and running, to keep them secure, because every minute, every second, whatever generates money, profit, revenue, right? And just having a downtime or having stuff like that can really cause a lot of stress. So if you want completely stress-free job, this is definitely not the one. Next, you only care about easy money. Now, obviously, again, it applies to a lot of professions, but cybersecurity, does it pay well? Yes, absolutely. Even junior positions pay a lot more than seniors in some other positions in IT. But it's not easy money. That's the problem, right? The salaries are high because the job is hard. You have to understand. And even if you will hear people say, oh, in cybersecurity, you can find an easy job. For example, SOC analyst, right? That's even the easiest in quotations, which I still think SOC is difficult, by the way, but even the easiest in quotations cybersecurity is much harder than the hardest in other professions. So will you make good money? Absolutely, but it's not going to be easy money. You still have to work a lot, you still have to put in hours, grind, and continue. So just remember that there is a catch, right? The pay is good; it's above average, definitely in most countries, from my knowledge. But the catch is you're paid to be the last line of defense, basically, because no pressure, right? And again, the reality is entry-level roles are competitive, often underpaid until you prove yourself. And I'm saying underpaid by comparison. That underpaid entry-level job is still more than like a middle developer in some countries, for example, right? So keep that in mind. Next is you love clear and simple problems. Now, cybersecurity problems are deliberately vague. They are always vague. Let me give you an example, actually, why, for example, AI can't actually do bug bounty or pen testing well, and often specialists use AI to like have a second thinking brain, let's say, with them to kind of communicate with them at the same time. Let me explain what I mean. So if you compare this to a developer problem, let's say a developer has a problem that he needs to implement a solution to in a day. So developer can find three possible solutions, try to understand which one is the best, and go on from there. That's cool. That's good. Yeah, of course. But in cybersecurity, there could be 100 possible solutions to one problem, 100 ways to exploit one input field. I said, to be fair, I'm being too generous. It's way more than 100, but still, like, that's just how it works. So if you love very clear, simple problems, there's a problem, one or two possible solutions, maybe three. This is not for you. You have to start thinking outside the box. Problems are vague, but for me, for example, that's what makes it interesting. That's why it's exciting. That's why I'm still not bored. Even after so many years, like just thinking about cybersecurity gets me excited. So keep that in mind. And obviously, the last one, you want work-life balance. Now, don't be scared of this. Obviously, everyone wants it, and it also depends a lot on company. But as I mentioned previously, like I was getting calls at 3 a.m., right? Cybersecurity work-life balance is a myth told to people in other departments, right? If you get into incident response, for example, incident response doesn't care much about your weekend plans. If there is an incident on weekend, you're working on weekend, possibly. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but again, and very often actually hackers will attack on weekends because they know a lot of people are at home and they don't want to do anything, right? So that's also a strategy. So remember, there is threat window 24/7, right? Industry report stress levels are staggering. There is 60% burnout rate, and you have to work very often 365 days a year. Now, this is not nightmare. Again, for someone like me, this is great. I love this. But maybe if you want perfect 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you just turn off your phone. Nobody can bother you, and it's not going to do like, and it won't affect you. Then maybe this is not for you. And again, it depends on country. Some countries have very strict regulations for this. Some countries pay a lot for working overtime. If they force you, for example, through incident response, to work on weekend, you will get paid a lot. Yes, there are laws to help you, obviously, with this. But remember, sometimes this stuff can happen and you have to be wary. So that's it. Let me know what you think about this. These are the reasons that you probably should not get into cybersecurity. However, if you find some of this stuff exciting that I'm talking about, then it's definitely for you. And I would highly advise you to go into our channel and check out the video where I'm talking about why you should get into cybersecurity. And that would be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.